Fans are reacting to what transpired in Lil Durk's courtroom with more yelling than a 2013 Chief Keef concert. So hold on to your seats. Not just rumors, this is street history being told under oath. The same rapper who produced platinum records out of suffering recently made the internet clutch its pearls after saying something in court. It is being referred to as the most surprising event in Chicago rap since the greatest names in OTF fell. While some claim Durk confirmed what everyone's been whispering, others believe he's engaged in the century's most important legal chess game. What transpired in that courtroom had the industry shook, regardless of your stance. The judge's expression stated it all. While typing, reporters froze. Social media, too. It was a nuclear event. Timelines were overrun with wacky speculations, ideas, and memes before you could say, OTF forever. A discovery like this makes the Kardashians appear to be a church choir. Fans are wondering if Durk exposed himself or outwitted the system with the truth, or whatever version of it he chose to reveal. Because Durk's statements in court disrupted not only the internet but also the idea of untouchable celebrity. The internet was quiet, but the courtroom was not. Social media immediately did what it always does when Lil Durk's name appeared on those transcripts. It took a few phrases, took them out of context, and created a digital conspiracy fire. You'd think the man had just narrated a true crime documentary about his own life. But in less than 10 minutes, Eager Lil Durk confessed was trending on Twitter. Reddit threads were at capacity, and TikTok detectives were already piecing together evidence. One court sentence, however, is always followed by a million tweets, a billion hot takes, and 1,000 YouTube theories. Now, what actually took place? Fans claim that Durk said something in his testimony that sounded awfully similar to verifying every street rumor that has been circulating online for years. Those grim tales, that are discussed like urban legends in barbershops, rap forums, and comment sections. It made little difference if no one had complete transcripts or background information. As soon as people believed Durk had slipped up, it was over. Instead of waiting for evidence, the internet creates it. What's the most outrageous? No official source even started the rumor. A random clip from a courthouse live feed was posted first, and enthusiasts thought that the 3 seconds of garbled audio were Durk saying something damning. It received millions of views after someone tagged it. He just admitted it. Using fire emojis and comments such as "Durk finally telling the truth," every gossip website reposted something. It fueled an already raging inferno with digital fuel. The incident had already developed into a full-fledged confession arc before attorneys could blink. Durk's reputation is outrageous because he is more than simply a rapper. He is a myth enmeshed in Chicago folklore, trauma, and loyalty. His lyrics are all interpreted as diary entries about some hidden criminal background. Instead of hearing grief when he adds, "I lost too many homies," supporters hear a coded message. When he spoke in court, people did more than simply listen. They decoded what he was saying. Furthermore, what they heard was sufficient to send the rap community into a tailspin. Blogs exploded. Headlines such as, "Did Lil Durk just legally verify the rumors?" swamped timelines more quickly than Spotify playlists on the day of publication. The voiceovers on reaction channels were brimming with phony worry and inflated incredulity. "I told you, bro, and he's been teasing. Durk finally admits it?" a YouTuber said in a video. The joy was almost palpable in each thumbnail. Scandal is money in the digital jungle of today, and Durk had just printed a fortune in mayhem. The internet doesn't listen to attorneys, it listens to vibes. Durk's legal team was out there trying to control the narrative in the meantime. Additionally, the atmosphere was intense. Fans began retrieving old tweets, lyrics, and interviews and combining them into a murder mystery fanfiction that could only be created on Twitter. One remark said, "Return to his 2019 verse." He has been stating it. Metaphors turned into reasons, art into ammo, and music into evidence. Another person added, "He just confessed in bars before court did." But what's the reality? As always, it was murky. According to court insiders, Durk wasn't even confessing to any crimes. His statement about losing people close to him was simply an emotional reflection that was turned into something darker. However, controversy is more popular than nuance. Consequently, waves of digital panic drowned out the actual tale. Fact and fabrication blended together more quickly than a double-time flow Lil Durk verse. Memes thereafter became popular. Overnight, Twitter transformed into a virtual comedy club. With the title, "When the Judge Asks for Your Statement and You Drop a Verse Instead," one meme featured Durk holding a microphone in a courtroom. Another posted, "Durk in court explaining who them boys really were," replete with phony genius comments. Although it was chaotic, it was the kind of comic anarchy that sustains social media. The mainstream media was powerless to resist. No one seemed to care that a few hip-hop blogs had rushed in with exclusive interpretations, claiming to have sources close to the case. Of course, those sources were likely fan pages with burner accounts. You might as well have said something if the internet comes to believe it. For in the court of public opinion, perception is the punishment rather than reality. Furthermore, rumors about Durk have swirled around his name before. His life story has long been portrayed as a Shakespearean tragedy, with friends lost, brothers lost, and fame gained through suffering. New theories, headlines, and insiders who think they know more than the lawyers appear with every new chapter. He seems to have a strong desire to play the antagonist in his own film. Additionally, they create the script even if he doesn't comply. But this is nothing new to Durk. He has been avoiding online criticism ever since half of these bloggers discovered what OTF actually meant. He has perfected the art of saying just enough to intrigue fans without really proving anything. It's traumatized marketing brilliance. He's aware that controversy sells, but this time he lost control of the story. Hip-hop was divided after the conclusion of the first day of testimony. "Durk just exposed himself," said half of the followers, while the other half yelled, "Y'all are distorting his words again." Comment sections turned into combat zones. He did not say he killed people. He simply stated that he lost them, a user argued. "One more shot back. Wake up, bro." At 3 in the morning, the conversation was more heated than the Versus War. He's been talking in code. But the passion, not simply the charge, was what went viral in this narrative. The thought of their favorite pain rapper perhaps living every word was too much for fans to bear. It made it difficult to distinguish between art and reality and prompted awkward inquiries. At what point does narrating turn into self-incrimination? When does evidence turn into authenticity? It felt like hip-hop's fixation on realness was eating itself alive. The sentiments of the Chicago community were also divided. Some argued Durk was being singled out once more, citing yet another instance of the legal system misrepresenting what a black man from the streets had to say. According to some, he may have spoken too freely, failing to remember that courtroom microphones do not automatically adjust the truth. At any rate, it was obvious that everyone had a different opinion, and nobody shared it. YouTubers returned online with a bloody odor. All of the channels that had ever used the word Durk in a title were immediately bringing back old footage, rewriting stories, and making the most of the occasion. Shocked gasps and fake tears were among the thumbnail faces. Podcasts that often talk about footwear and sports suddenly turned into criminal experts in an instant. A share of the algorithmic pie was desired by all. However, one thing seemed clear from all of this. The facts were no longer the focus. Fascination was key. They were tuned in for tension, not to discover the truth. Each tweet revealed a story twist, and each new update was a dopamine rush. The story had the feel of realism, but it wasn't. And in the digital drama era, that was all that mattered. Every blog headline, every group chat, and every trending list had Lil Durk's name by the conclusion of that week. Despite his genuine statements, the rumor had grown into a monster. The world had already decided what they wanted to hear, so who cared what was said in that courtroom? In today's society, perception comes after facts, not the other way around. And when the dust settled from the commotion in the courtroom, one thing was clear. Lil Durk did more than simply testify. He set off the greatest hip-hop internet boom since YNW Melly's Murder on My Mind. It was devoured by the internet like a Sunday meal, and what followed was unavoidable, even for Durk himself. The internet doesn't look into it when it detects blood. Instead, it devours. 24 hours after Durk's trial video was leaked, every meme website, TikTok voiceover, and gossip site had evolved into a full-fledged investigation agency. They all seemed to have graduated from the University of YouTube with legal degrees. Durk confessed, Kosk Free the Voice, and He Said It Not Me were among the most popular hashtags on the timeline. Usually, a slowed-down Durk lyric transformed into proof. There was always that one dramatic background tune for every post. Popular bloggers also joined in. Suddenly, publications that had not reported on hip-hop in years feigned expertise on Chicago street culture. All of a sudden, sources close to the case were everywhere, each with their own unique statement. Durk was emotionally unraveling, according to one, and speaking his truth, according to another, and the third simply made up quotes. However, clicks were what mattered to everyone, not accuracy. Durk was covering everyone's rent this month, and chaos is what pays the bills. Social media, meanwhile, evolved into an online courthouse. Users of TikTok were acting out the testimony and using phony transcripts. In one widely shared video, a man acting as a judge was heard stating, "You mean you did it?" While a different man wearing a phony OTF hoodie gave a dramatic nod. "This ain't law and order, it's rap and order." The comments were much worse. The internet was consuming its own illusion, and it was amazing. Rappers began to weigh in as well. "They're always twisting the truth, SMH," 21 Savage said in a narrative he shared. Boozy went live and stated, "They're going to take your lyrics and make them law, boy." The internet acted as if it were a prophecy when Kodak Black posted the cryptic tweet, "Courtroom too loud, silence gon' win." No one understood what it meant. The conspiracy maps created by fans were making false connections and making True Detective resemble a kid's puzzle. The meme storm followed. Twitter made the entire event into a carnival of memes. Another image included fans photoshopping Durk's mugshot onto the cover of an album called Confessions of the Voice, while another featured him wearing headphones as he entered the courtroom with the caption, "Plot twist. He just dropped a verse mid-trial." There was a lot of inventiveness, but much more cruelty. Every serious comment was transformed into content, and every attempt to explain the problem was outshone by laughing. Then fan battles erupted like clockwork. Team Doubt versus Team Durk. One side yelled, "Until proven guilty, he is innocent." He essentially admitted it. The other cried out. It was digital warfare rather than a debate. Every time you scrolled, you would find arguments that were locked in caps beneath each post. "You guys pretend that you were in the courtroom," one fan wrote. What was the response? "As if you were a member of his gang." It was insane. Arguments over who had a larger fan base were now more common than disagreements over the facts. What really set things in motion, though, was when someone discovered an old video of Durk discussing losing his brothers live. Suddenly, that video was cut into the trial video, giving the impression that it was a confession montage. The title, When Lyrics Become Life. Within hours, the video had 1 million views. Reposting it, each reaction channel pretended to be revealing secret evidence. Because Durk didn't just say something, the story had gotten out of hand. He was now being digitally framed as the protagonist of a murder investigation that was the product of the internet's most imaginative imagination. Durk remained silent in the midst of this mayhem. Not a single tweet, post, or statement. Furthermore, that silence just made matters worse. Because when a famous person doesn't speak, the internet makes noise to fill the void. One tweet stated, "He is quiet because he is guilty." Another remarked, "He remained silent because his lawyers advised him to relax." Both became well known. It made no difference which was correct. Perception travels more quickly than fact in this era. After then, there was a new twist. An alleged insider said that the whole court transcript will be made public shortly and that it's worse than people think. No one confirmed this, but it didn't stop the hoopla. Fake images began to circulate like digital ghosts. YouTube channels went active, and influencers began analyzing papers that were never there. Panic even broke out among Durk's fans. "It's over if that's true," someone commented on Reddit. "That's how the current world operates. Music is public relations, and scandal is marketing. He needs to release an album to clear his name. Celebrities, however, began to distance themselves. The yelling of OTF forever by rappers abruptly stopped. There was a delay in collaborations. The mention of Durk began to fade from playlists. Campaigns from brands were halted. The music industry was apparently ghosting a man in real time when one promoter allegedly canceled an event, citing legal optics. People who once referred to him as real now viewed him as a liability. Some, nevertheless, supported him. To regain control of the conversation, fans started using the hashtag #SueTheTwistingDurkWords. To demonstrate the frequency of inflated reports about him in the media, they produced compilation videos. Quotes on survival, suffering, and loyalty abound in these poignant clips. However, for every supporter of his, 5 more were trolling. The internet is more about volume than fairness. The one with the loudest shout wins. Scholars also joined in. The story was described as a modern-day witch trial fueled by algorithms in a thread on digital folklore and hip-hop by a professor from a media studies department. The thread received thousands of likes because, well, the internet loves a big-worded explanation for its own insanity. He acknowledged, however, what everyone already knew. Controversy is what keeps clicks going, and Durk's story was nourishing the ecology as a whole. By week 2, the rumor had spread over the world. In languages Durk most likely doesn't even speak, fans from other countries were sharing reaction videos. The narrative crossed boundaries. Hip-hop Twitter became a global courthouse replete with misquotes, memes, and intensely emotive thought pieces. There was also a movie created by some fans called The Fall of OTF, What Really Happened, which was not sourced. They all went viral. This is the dark part, though. No one paid attention to the actual game being played while everyone was giggling, speculating, and taking apart. The dispute increased his number of streams. Each old hit, deep cut, and pain song began to chart once more. His monthly listeners on Spotify rose. His YouTube searches increased 3-fold. To analyze the lyrics, the same people who were dragging him online were streaming him repeatedly. This was the epitome of digital irony. Even rival rappers recognized the chance. Some made taunts without mentioning names by slipping subliminals into their lyrics. Fans were furious after hearing the remark, "He told in court. I told on beats." This became a full-fledged rap civil war as comment sections blew up once more. Speculation had been formally transformed into scripture by the internet, which analyzed every diss and classified every paragraph as confirmation. Nobody knew if Durk was working on a documentary, a single, or a statement. But insiders said he was working on a huge response, something big back at his camp. The buzz machine was rekindled only by that rumor, though. The excitement was palpable as YouTubers labeled their videos, "Durk is about to expose everyone." It was everyone's curiosity to see how the voice would get his voice back. Ironically, though, this is precisely how celebrity now operates, something that no one wants to acknowledge. All of it, scandals, rumors, misconstrued words, is content. The fame becomes the blaze, and the fury becomes oxygen. Regardless of his intention, Durk was now contributing to the year's largest hip-hop show. His quietness was really effective marketing, not a sign of weakness. And while the internet debated, laughed, wept, and exhausted itself, a single truth began to show through the clamor. Durk might not have verified anything at all. Perhaps there were fans. Although the court may not have been a stage, the internet transformed it into one. Because you can go viral in 2025 without having any guilt or innocence. You only need a Wi-Fi connection and a rumor. It was clear by the conclusion of that hectic second week that Lil Durk's testimony had caused a cultural earthquake rather than merely making headlines. The 3-second footage quickly became a worldwide sensation. Furthermore, proof no longer held any weight in the world, regardless of the actual reality. The story was about addiction. By the time the courtroom spectacle had subsided, the impact was irrefutable. Lil Durk's moniker was not just popular. It was taken across comment sections, timelines, and meme culture like a Chicago cyclone. Every video, rumor, and fan theory had combined to create an unstoppable tide of infatuation with digital content. The most absurd aspect? No one was aware of the fact. But impression alone has the power to influence opinions, careers, and even possible joint ventures. In the modern world, Durk had just given the internet a grenade, and narrative is power. Partnerships were promptly reevaluated by brands. Campaigns were halted by those who had once seized the opportunity to collaborate with him, assessing their optics as if they were preparing for a press conference. Event planners began questioning security protocols, promoters delayed performances, and even venues began subtly reevaluating hosting anything under the OTF moniker. Social media storms work like this. Chaos is capital, and perception is currency. The market responded to the rumor rather than the truth. Meanwhile, everyone had gone into full-fledged evaluation mode, both critics and supporters. Under hashtags like #Cheers Stand with Durk, ardent supporters of one side mobilized, claiming that the guy had already had enough loss of loved ones and that he had been maligned. They also claimed that footage had been taken out of context. Skeptics, on the other hand, flocked to forums with fan theories, manipulated videos, and speculative timelines, asserting that the courtroom testimonies validated all of the conspiracies they had long believed. Everyone had a megaphone, and the comment sections resembled little UN debates, but nobody was courteous. Durk's social media accounts abruptly stopped posting as the rumor mill continued to operate. Whether deliberate or not, the quiet served as a magnet for conjecture. Every Instagram post that was removed, every activity lull, and every nuanced tale was examined for hidden significance. Fans conjectured about secret messages in captions, secret lyrics in future songs, and signals to collaborators. Durk's lack of activity has officially been turned into content on the internet. It would have been seen as a confession in court if the man had only uploaded one picture of his breakfast. Stars were compelled to weigh in. Support was given by some, cryptic remarks by others, and obviously clout by some. In a hazy story, 21 Savage said, "The truth always comes out. Don't let 'em twist it." Boozy added, "Y'all be reading too much into words, but the streets understand." Cardi B and Nicki Minaj even indirectly subtweeted, sending fans into a frenzy as they tried to figure out what it meant. Every response intensified the instability Durk never intentionally caused, and the planet was in a state of spin. The memes started to appear. Durk's courtroom silence, his supporters' responses, and his alleged admission were all transformed into a never-ending cycle of viral invention by the internet. In one TikTok, a user was posing as Durk in court, nodding in response to each question, substituted with a bass-heavy beat for the judge's gavel sound. Another meme purported that Durk was dropping songs rather than testifying by showing his courtroom transcript with cartoon annotations. The ridiculousness was hilarious, but that's how virality operates: chaos, humor, and exaggeration. In the meantime, his group worked in the background in silence, attempting to control the damage. Carefully worded PR statements made it clear that nothing had been verified or proven in court. In addition to legal counsel getting ready for the inevitable media questions, clips were being watched for misunderstandings. However, in 2025, attempting to control the narrative is like attempting to contain a cyclone. Social media doesn't wait for press releases. Instead, it moves quickly, fueled by fury and memes. Additionally, fan responses started to diverge noticeably. Using Durk's track record of openness in music as evidence that he couldn't lie in court, some defended him with an almost religious zeal. The rumor-confirmed narrative was believed to be true by others, who took the video at its value. Enthusiastic articles, YouTube reaction compilations, and fan videos flooded the threads. Street credibility, perception, and loyalty were the main topics of discussion rather than the law. Every viewpoint felt pressing, as if there were a national hip-hop emergency. The public's intense interest compelled even the mainstream media to portray it as a cultural moment. The rumor was sensationalized in some headlines, while others attempted to remain neutral. Messages such as "courtroom drama sparks global speculation" and "fans react to alleged testimony" were common. Because readers were more interested in the story than the legal specifics, these articles, even when written with care, encouraged speculative activity on social media. Inadvertently, Durk had given the world a treasure trove of drama, which is always more clickable than accuracy. The criticism, meanwhile, wasn't only from fans. The other artists began to distance themselves. Conversations about collaboration were put on hold, cosigns vanished, and subliminal insults surfaced during interviews. The internet immediately linked Durk to some of his hidden lyrics, which some competitors even used as a chance to gain cultural leverage. Every post, phrase, and behavior would be examined through the prism of the rumor. The OTF camp's irrelevant utterances were also examined for hidden meanings. The digital magnifying glass showed nothing. In the meantime, Durk's streaming popularity soared. Fans went back to old albums and songs in an effort to decode the confession, or analyze the lyrics for hidden admissions. Each song became content material, and each verse became a topic for discussion. Oddly enough, the myth endangered his public image while simultaneously boosting his career outcomes. The paradox of the internet. Controversy simultaneously fuels engagement and reaction, resulting in a vicious cycle of fixation. Platforms began to flood with more expert interpretations as the days went by. The hour-long videos were created by YouTubers who used slow motion, dramatic commentary, and captions to break down the clip. Users of TikTok reproduced trial scenes with music, filters, and exaggerated acting, while Twitter threads with 20 entries or more carefully examined what Durk might have meant. Despite its absurdity, it was persuasive evidence that conjecture may become a cultural force in today's social media environment. Street culture was also a factor. In forums, live streams, and Instagram threads, fans in Chicago, Atlanta, and New York discussed their hot takes. Every purported utterance was examined like scripture, and every line of conjectured testimony took on symbolic meaning. People were co-authoring the story and changing it in real time, not simply watching. By being silent, Durk gave the rumor the freedom to develop naturally, transforming the spectacle into a live, breathing thing. The rapper's inner circle and fans were clearly feeling the emotional toll. In their passionate posts about devotion, growth, and misinterpreted intent, some vehemently supported him. He may be keeping back more than what was depicted in the video, according to open speculation. It was similar to watching a drama series unfold on the internet as everyone debated character motivation and plot flaws, treating the courtroom like a Netflix set. By the third week, the rumor had been culturally accepted. It was mentioned in jokes, memes, and lyrics to songs. The spectacle was now greater than any one remark made in court. Fans had constructed their own mythologies around Durk's remarks, analyzing each word, contrasting it with his lyrics, and speculating about its implications for OTF and the larger rap scene. In a sense, the internet had transformed a testimony into a continuous story. The distinction between entertainment, rumors, and reality had all become muddled, nevertheless, notwithstanding the confusion. Whether or not the tape signified what people believed was irrelevant. They only desired the drama, the suspense, and the conjecture. Not only was Durk's courtroom moment a legal action, but it was also a cultural event and a digital firestorm that consumed everyone's attention. The story was sustained long after, the gavel struck by every response, meme, and hypothesis. In the current era, that is the most powerful thing. Not reality. No proof. Not even the law. Drama, rumors, and public fascination, however. Durk's testimony turned into a catalyst, sparking debate, content production, and viral momentum all around the world. Beyond fans, attorneys, and the courtroom, the repercussions were enormous. People wouldn't forget it, and for months they would discuss, mock, and dissect it as a cultural moment. Internet users started to wait as the dust settled enough to breathe. Awaiting clarifications, Durk's next move and any fresh revelations or responses. Because rumors don't go away in the social media age, they only change. And the video of Durk in court, even a whisper may become a roar in the digital age, and even a pause can be louder than a confession. This has become a phenomenon, a spectacle, and a lesson. Okay, family, if you thought the chaos in the courtroom was crazy, think again. Press the like button like it owes you money, leave a comment with your best opinion, then click subscribe before the next controversy is revealed more quickly than a new Drake article. The last time there is a digital earthquake, you don't want to be the only one offline. Here at RapScopeX, we bring hot tea directly to your feed rather than waiting for it to cool. You are aware that we dissect every rumor, courtroom video, and meme-driven speculation in a way that is direct, brutal, and absurdly amusing. Would you like exclusives? We managed to get them. Are you looking for shade? We serve it by the gallon. Oh. Are you looking for drama? Obviously, you're already addicted. Participate instead of just sitting there. Whatever you want to say, make it known. You can dispute, roast, defend, hypothesize, or comment. As chaotic as possible is preferable. Since the internet, let's face it, is powered by indignation, we're here to provide you the double-shot premium version without any hassles. The next. Controversy will surface before you can say OTF forever. Therefore, you don't want to miss it, so send out alerts now. Keep in mind that the memes never stop talking. The blogs are lying, and the streets are talking. The explosive drama, the leaks, and the speculations always start here. This is RapScopeX, not just news. Here, rumors fly, fame rips, and the story never dies. Remember that the tea isn't just hot in this game, it's nuclear. Stay tuned and stay vicious. Stay vicious.